Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Bilco. This is their part number KTSLAM. This is a complete lock assembly that is used in a number of Bilco roof hatches. All of the ones that it is used in, I couldn't tell you, I don't know, because they don't necessarily publish that data up front, but it is certainly used in several and many. There's a link below this video to the S-Series door where we know it's used, and there are several pages of technical drawings showing the component parts, the parts drawings, part numbers for each of those available items, and the KTSLAM is certainly among those parts. It's the entire exterior and interior portion of the lock assembly. Obviously the business end, the lock body itself. This is all zinc dichromate. It's all steel with a zinc dichromate corrosion-resistant plating on it. If you have a aluminum hatch or something non-ferrous, this would not be the proper item. There would be a non-ferrous version of this available, and reach out to us and we'll help you sort that out. Some dimensional properties as we go through the parts. About 5.5 inch overall length of the body. Center to center of the mounting holes, it's about 5 inch. That's not been the same dimension in the history of Bilco. I think this is slightly smaller than it was at one time. Overall thickness of the body, about 1 9/16 inches. Okay. Overall depth, about 2 13/16. Okay. Spring assembly, that latch that's in there. When the key stock from the handles go basically from the, well, what would be the outside through here to your inside handle, rotating those will obviously retract your latch. Let's take a look at that. That does require, it's got some movement before the hub engages the latch. Then it rotates the last few degrees. So that's the body itself. Obviously we have the exterior handle, and that is going to, of course, feature the zinc, cast zinc handle on the outside, its spindle, its rubber gasket, and then, of course, the two staples that will allow you to padlock this together. This unit is for a 1 inch thick standard non-insulated roof hatch lid. The length of this shaft, they would say it's 4 5/8. Nowhere on here can you really measure 4 5/8 because it's the overall length of the actual piece of equipment, and that spindle probably goes to somewhere inside of here. Okay, the exposed portion of the spindle is about 3 5/16. Okay, and speaking of 5/16, the size of the key stock is 0.314 by 0.313. Okay, so basically 5/16 key stock. As the handle comes from the outside, it's obviously going to go through to the inside where you'll have your interior lever and this roll pin that when you insert that, you're going to drive that roll pin right through that hole that's been drilled in the key stock to complete the installation. Okay. You will also have, just for the sake of it, overall length of the handle, about 4 1/8. You're also going to have a strike that's going to go on the sidewall, and that's what is going to permit your unit to lock in place. Okay. Actually, no, it's going to be mounted on the sidewall, be locked like that. Okay. Dimensional properties of the strike itself. Overall width about 2.5. The screw hole location's about 1/2 inch over to about 2 inch. And then an overall height, about 1 15/16 inches. You will then mount that plate when you're installing it, so that when the lid closes, portion that's mounted to the sidewall will allow you to padlock it from the inside. Okay, so that's how that will work. Lid will come and close, allow you to padlock that together. A couple of basic dimensions, and that does literally sit right on along with the body. Overall length, about 2 7/8 by about 1 1/16. Overall height of the plate, about 2 5/8. The overall length of the sidewall staple, about 2 13/16 by 1 1/4 almost. Overall height of that portion, about 2 1/8. Then finally, you'll get fasteners. There should be a total of let's get a count. Yeah, there will be a total of 8 fasteners. You're going to need 4 for here. You're going to need 4 for here. Pardon me, 2 for there. 4 and then 2 for the exterior. The only difference here is you'll have a bag of hex cap screws. The only difference is that you're going to have one that's a thin head. That one thin head is going to be here where you need that clearance to be able to rotate that. The outside one you can use a standard head hex cap screw, and washers are included. Lots of links down below this video to other documents. Instructions are there. No real rhyme or reason as to what is listed in those descriptions. Those documents, I should say, just assembled paperwork that pertain to the item in question. Okay, you can go through the installation steps there. It's very simple and straightforward, especially if you have a roof hatch that you're working from. You're just replacing the latch. There's also a link to the bolt drawings. That's nice to know. Should you need replacement bolts, we do sell those as well for the roof hatch latch, the KTSLAM. A link to technical information. That's nice. It will show you the different length of spindles that are available, and that leads me to tell you there will be different versions of this KTSLAM in both zinc or steel base and non-ferrous with different length of spindles. At least 3 of each length. There's a 4 5/8, then there's a 5 5/8, and then there's a longer one. And the difference only is how thick the lid is that you're going through. For instance, if you had an insulated lid that was 2 inch thick, the 4 5/8, this model is not long enough. The client will call and say, I need a complete latch for a Bilco roof hatch. Okay, how thick is the lid? I have no idea. Is it made of steel or aluminum? No idea. That's a tough one. We do want to know that. Let's just say the answer is steel. Not sure of the thickness of the lid. Occasionally the client will say, well, give me the longest one and I'll cut it to length. You don't want to do that because they're a lot more expensive. Plus, you're going to have to drill that hole after you cut the spindle down. There's no doubt about that. That you won't necessarily just want to do that, or stack a huge amount of washers on the inside to take up the space. You don't want to do that either. So knowing the length would be great, and that's why we gave the length of this about 3 5/16. Now let's take a look at the bill of materials and parts schematic is there. That's a nice document from Bilco. Just shows the pieces and parts pulled together, generally how it looks when you're installing the material as well. So that's a nice document. And then there's the S door technical drawings, which will show the S series door, as I had said earlier, along with the other components that would be used on a parts list. Now, the question is often that the client does not know what latch they need, and the way to determine that, and obviously the purpose of this video is to give you visual and dimensional evidence of the KTSLAM. But if that doesn't work, we need photographs of the unit underneath. A serial number, if it exists, would be highly valuable, because then we can pull the bill of material of the unit and determine without any guesswork exactly what's needed. So if you can obtain that, forward that to us as well. Below this video is a link to the other lengths that I had mentioned earlier. Zinc and stainless, the differing shaft lengths are there depending on the thickness of the lid. If you have an insulated lid, it'll be thicker. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Bilco products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. Any questions on the Bilco KTSLAM latch or any other Bilco product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.